Hey everybody, this is Jacob from Fever Dream back with another video. Today I just wanted to talk a little bit about One Piece. If I remember right, I believe we are coming up on a 2-week break from getting new One Piece chapters, though there may be leaks. I don't read leaks myself, so that's kind of irrelevant for things. Anyways, since we're coming up on that 2-week break, I thought it was a good time to look back at the last few chapters and see what's happened there and what I think might be happening going forwards. What I'm hoping for in the series, at least, and a couple of minor theories. The biggest things going on right now are that the giant children from the school have been kidnapped and are being forced to walk straight towards a fire. The fire got put out by Jinbei, of course, at some point, but 3 holy knights who have all been called there are using their devil fruits in tandem to call forth nightmares and to injure anyone who attempts to save the kids. At the beginning of the most recent chapter, Robin and Chopper were both hiding in Saul's beard as he got beat up by one of those holy knights, and Saul was telling them that they can't beat him, so they should just hide and wait while he takes the brunt of it. And Saul was a Marine, so I mean, he's not exactly a pushover by any means, but he's clearly not doing well in this kind of fight. And personally, I was a little bit frustrated with Robin and Chopper. Like, listen, you can't beat him, but you two are quite powerful. Chopper especially isn't exactly the strongest on the crew. They're no big 3, but they would be able to hold their own, I think, at the very least, especially when there are children involved. So I was very gratified at the end of this chapter when Robin and Skopper actually got up and started to fight. Following the example we had with Rayleigh, I think there's a lot that we could learn from Skopper during this arc, and I'm excited to see if there's some kind of counter that they have to the regeneration that these Holy Knights are using. Usopp freaking blew up Gunko's entire torso, and she regenerated entirely fine. So number 1, that was crazy ruthless, Usopp. And number 2, they can regenerate from some ridiculous amounts of damage and be completely fine afterwards. Part of me wonders if that's somewhat tied to the difference that we saw between most of the Gorosei and Jay Garcia Saturn when they were on Egghead, since the rest of them didn't seem to be there in the same way that Saturn was, because they all kind of beamed right back, whereas Saturn stayed on Egghead after the fact. So I wonder if they're not actually there physically somehow, that there may be something else going on in that way, or, I mean, they could just be healing entirely during that time. That's also technically a possibility, I suppose. I just wonder how we're going to be able to counter that. The one thing that I think has potential to happen is that Brook is going to have some kind of power up, either an awakening, which would be super cool, or he may just be able to use his powers in another way that we haven't really seen before, since he is the Soul King. He's got a bunch of soul-related abilities, so I wonder if he may be able to damage the souls more directly. Another thing that I have kind of had as a minor gripe for a long time in One Piece is that so many members of the Straw Hat crew don't have any form of haki whatsoever. Brook, Robin, Chopper, and Frankie for sure don't have any kind of haki as far as I remember. And I think it's kind of crazy that they've been able to keep up to any degree in a combat sense since haki became prevalent in people that they're fighting. And with Robin stepping up to fight alongside Skopper to protect the children, I'm hopeful that there may be something like that going on, that they could have a haki awakening, they can start to use their powers in that kind of way. If Brook ends up fighting some of the Holy Knights, like I expect probably will happen to some degree, I'm hopeful that he will have a Devil Fruit awakening, or perhaps he'll learn to use some type of haki. And one of those things could possibly grant his already soul-related abilities to damage the Holy Knights even through their insane regeneration. Part of the reason why I'm so focused on Brook in this capacity is because he's clearly related to Gunko in some way. Not actually related by blood or anything, but the story is clearly linking them in that Gunko's listening to his music. Now she's trying to make him a slave, but he also recognized her before she came over and started stepping on him all crazy like that. We still don't know a lot about Brook's backstory, and if there's any flashbacks that we're going to have from the Straw Hats, I think his is probably going to be happening fairly soon. we could find out quite a lot about his origins in tandem with finding out about the Holy Knights and maybe some kind of weakness that they may have. I think that Gunko is probably going to get some kind of redemption. Even if she doesn't become an actual good guy, she's at least not going to be a massive antagonist, I don't think, just considering how much Oda has set up for her. So what I'm expecting in this arc is that they're going to find some way to counter the immortality of the Holy Knights. I'm hoping that that comes in the form of some kind of Haki awakenings, or Devil Fruit awakenings for some of the rest of the crew, to power them up even more than they already were on Wano and Egghead. And then I also hope that we get to see something of the third world, I believe it's called the Heaven World, as opposed to the Underworld, which he's already seen, where Loki is trapped, and then above that there's the Sun World, and then we've got the Heaven World, I believe. Loki's probably going to get some kind of, not redemption exactly, but justification for his actions. I am very curious to see where that's all going. I got to say I'm suspicious of a couple of the giants in terms of their motivations, but I am excited to see where things are going for now. I think there's a lot of potential going on in this arc, and I am excited to see some of the lesser used Straw Hats shine in whatever capacity they can. But I am a little bit afraid that this arc might move too quickly for my comfort with it, just because I know that Oda originally wasn't even intending for this to be a thing that happens. But for what it's worth, I'm glad that we're here at the very least, and I am very, very excited to see where things go and how this leads right into the final arcs. Arc or arcs? Maybe it's just one, maybe it's multiple. So if you guys have any thoughts about the nature of the Holy Knights' regeneration, or how they teleport there, or what's going on with emu connections and such, feel free to comment down below. Maybe leave a like while you're down there, and subscribe if you want to see more from me. But with that being said, I will see you all in 2 weeks with my next video. Bye!